Welcome everybody to the HECSE Short Course webinar. On the line and presenters, we have Tiffany Fisher, Sam Walty, and Ashley White, and I am Andrea Sook. We're going to start with a quick overview of what we'll be talking about. We will make some quick introductions of who we are, what is HECSE, and what is the HECSE Short Course, and any past experiences and outcomes that we'll share with you in a brief moment. We will answer how to apply for the HECSE Short Course, and then again, if you have questions along the way, we will answer those at the very end. Just utilize the chat box. Tiffany, you're up.
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Tiffany Fisher, and I'm a student at the University of Florida. I'm in the Special Education, School Psychology, and Early Childhood Studies department. What I study is teacher education, effectiveness, and policy, and I work with Dr. Paul Sindelar.
Wonderful. My name, as I said earlier, is Andrea Sook. I'm out of the University of Oklahoma. I am finishing up my doctoral degree in both transition and ABA, and I participated in the HECSE Short Course last year.
Hi everybody, I'm Sam Walty. I am in my third year of the PhD program in special education at the University of Illinois at Chicago, and I participated in the HECSE Short Course last year, or I guess earlier this year.
Hi everyone, I'm Ashley White and I attend the University of South Florida. Third year of my doctoral program, special ed policy, as well as cognate and educational leadership. So we're thinking about what HECSE is as an organization. They were founded in 1982. And HECSE advocates for the interests of special education and the institutions that serve this unique population, meaning the special education community. What's important to note is that all HECSE institutions have graduate and doctoral programs pertaining to special education, either in personnel, leadership, and research preparation. Each member works toward ensuring appropriate educational opportunities for effective school outcomes for children and youth with disabilities, and they support the recruitment, preparation, and retention of special education personnel at all levels, so teachers all the way up to faculty.
Quick reminder for everyone online, please turn off your video cameras. There'll be a little button on the right-hand side of the window that says video on or video off. Thank you.
So during the Legislative Summit, members participate in many intentional advocacy initiatives under the direction of the president, as well as with the assistance of Dr. Jane West, who is HECSE's policy consultant. They merge scholarship and policy to impact federal legislation for youth and children with disabilities. So during the Winter Summit, they have policy briefings, symposium, panel discussions, and visits on the Hill. Those are just a few of the activities that HECSE members partake in during this 3-day event. So why is this important? Well, the policy information that is reviewed during the HECSE Winter Summit allows members to have a framework and a platform for when they go back to their universities. So during the summit, we're thinking critically about and contributing to vital policy information. The connection to the legislative component of special education creates a very solid academic base for HECSE members and participants. So what they do is they take their policy and scholarly knowledge, they take it back to their universities and continue to engage in these important policy works, either statewide, locally, or federally. And this is just a list of all of the universities that are included in the HECSE membership. You can find this information on the HECSE website as well. And I'll give you guys a minute to read the president's message. This is from Dr. Jeff Anderson. He is a professor of special education at Indiana University, and he just wanted to provide you a quick hello for the future HECSE Short Course participants.
Hi, this is Tiffany again. So I forgot to say I'm also a third-year doctoral student. But how I got involved with the short course was actually during my first year, and my advisor introduced me to Dr. West at a conference, and she heard of my interest and suggested that I apply. And I did not have I had a background in activism, but no background in politics and advocacy at this kind of level. So I was a little intimidated, but I went ahead and applied. I was very excited about this short course. It was the second year that it had been instituted. So just here are the three parts of the short course about politics, policy, and advocacy. For short course scholars, before they actually attend, there's going to be a few readings and some other things to kind of develop a foundation for the course, as well as classroom experiences and Hill experiences. So the assignments and the experiences will be related to current policy issues, as well as developing that foundation. Right. So before the short course, even if you don't have a background in policy, politics, or advocacy, these assignments will orient you for the short course. And they will set a foundation, and some will definitely be related to the current political landscape. Lucky for you guys, you've already gotten to know a little bit about HECSE, but some of the other things before the short course would get to know more about your local legislators if you don't already, and whatever the current political issues might be right now, as well as, Dr. West will suggest some websites and blogs that will, I know it helped me a lot to start looking more into these resources to be able to feel more comfortable coming up and being involved. So once you arrive in DC, the first day and a half will some classroom experience, and Dr. West will facilitate the course, and usually there are a few past short course scholars that will serve kind of as your mentors with the lessons and activities. So this is an opportunity not only to learn the objectives of the course, but also to build relationships with each other. Short course scholars will come from very diverse special education areas and from across the country. And at first I was a bit intimidated, but very quickly felt comfortable and supported by Dr. West, my mentors, and the other students. So during this, you'll have developed a really good understanding of policy, the key players, and advocacy. And also a really good part of this will be some reflection sessions on your new knowledge and experiences. So part of the short course will be to actually go out onto the Hill. So first off, I want to say that I've given some examples, but these experiences are always dependent on the availability of people to meet with us. But a lot of times you'll have a chance to talk to people, staffers, for in the Senate, in the House, and Dr. West does a good job of um, providing opportunities to speak to people that are on both sides of the aisle, as well as going out and talking to representatives from education organizations. So this is a really, really good opportunity to have rich discussions with people immersed in this work and talk about the legislative process. And it helps me get a better understanding of how policy works in DC, and then also how to be a better advocate.
So we each found pictures that represented our experiences from when we were part of the short course. And on the left, that was this earlier this year. So when we had our short course, it was, I believe we started the day after our new president was inaugurated. So we had some lots of discussions about certain people who might be in charge of different departments. And we went to talk. This is actually a meeting with the North Carolina Senator Burr's staffer. So we had a chance to sit down with him and talk about just how his senator was feeling about Ms. DeVos and all our different issues. And it was great because we actually had one short course participant from the state of North Carolina. That's really, really helpful because then the staffers and senators and everybody related, it's generally much more open to listening to people who are their own constituents. And that's part of why HECSE really wants to have such a broad reach, both for its membership and for its short course participants, because if we can represent a wider geographical area, then we'll have an in more people's offices. So anyway, we all got to sit down and ask our specific questions, and that was really amazing. That's an experience that we would never have gotten had we not been part of the short course.
This is Andrea. One of the experiences that I'd like to share with you is meeting with another staffer, not pictured in here. But I felt like I was going to have some challenges because the staffer was working for a person whose policies on education did not align with my beliefs on what was best for education. And so I kind of thought there would be a conflict and some issues arising, especially in the climate of the politics today. But in reality, what I wanted to share with you all on the line today was really finding common ground with people and where we can all start with to make changes for the better. And not going into the whole specific story because I want everyone to find their own experiences of inspiration, but she shared with us that her mother was a teacher and that from her mother's experiences, she discussed how challenging it could be to educate students that were being serviced by special education in this classroom, and some of the heartburn that her mother felt and how it related back to her now working for this person on the Hill. And it was great to really hear about we can find common ground because people in classrooms, paraprofessionals, co-teachers, general ed teachers, and special ed teachers need to be trained and equipped. So although I walked into the room really thinking that I was going to walk away upset and frazzled, it really became a positive experience because we did have common ground on issues that I did not think that we would. So that was one of my experiences that I wanted to share with you.
I think when I was thinking back to my experience on the Hill, one of my favorite experiences that I had during the short course, the year that I went was a little over a month after HECSE had been signed into law. So policy was having a major shift, and we had the opportunity to speak with the staffer for Lamar Alexander. and then also with a staffer for Patty Murray. So that I left DC after that trip, and it just had a huge impact on me, thinking about, after speaking to people, and how this really big bipartisan effort happened to make the reauthorization a reality. And speaking to both sides of the aisle, hearing the things that needed to happen to make the reauthorization a reality, and how people work together really impacted me. And I also had a chance, I get very nervous speaking in public and in groups. And, I had read through some of the information before the course about ESSA, and I actually spoke up and asked the staffer for Lamar Alexander, Senator Alexander, his staffer, a question that I had actually with something in the reauthorization. And it helps me understand that even though I get nervous speaking to people and speaking with conviction, that I could actually have a conversation with people, and that I could actually not just stand around holding signs, but actually I could make appointments, and that I have something to say, and these things are important, and that those people will listen. That was really important for me.
Hi, this is Ashley again. So, my short course interesting experience kind of started before the actual course. I met Tiffany Fisher because she had come she traveled from Gainesville to Tampa to present regarding her short course experience the year before I had the opportunity to attend. And that's what got me really interested in applying for and hopefully attending the short course. For me, it was just more than anything an experience in equity. Typically, when you're talking about individuals who represent our nation's constituents, people of color, in my case, African American people, are typically not widely included in that category of people. And so Jane West says all the time, if you're not at the table, you're probably on the menu. And I think a lot of issues in terms of educational policy, especially as it relates to students with disabilities, figuratively eat people of color. And so that's because many times they're not at the table. And so that's kind of what spurred my interest and keeps me going when I think about policy. So through this experience, I was kind of able to get my feet wet in terms of how to navigate this sometimes intricate arena and figure out how to respectfully advocate for causes that pertain to students with disabilities, particularly students who are racially or ethnically minoritized in our country. So that was extremely beneficial for me in getting to meet people who could help me do that and send me in the right directions to deliver some of the ideas and notions that I think are important in helping maintain and further the equity for students with disabilities of all races and ethnicities.
Well, thank you everyone for sharing experiences. Before we move on to how to apply for this great program, I just want to highlight one point. Many of us participants who went into the short course had an interest in policy and politics, but most of us did not actually have a strong knowledge in either of those two. And so if you are accepted to the short course, you'll be prepared through the assignments that were discussed by Tiffany and through the class that will actually happen with Dr. West in arriving in DC. So don't feel like you have to know all these important key players' names, because most of us learned that when we started doing the assignments and in the short course itself. So now that we've given you a teaser on how great the HECSE Short Course is, how do we apply and what should we keep in mind? So prior to applying, first look at your calendar and decide if the dates of January 16th through January 19th are completely open for you, because you will need every single minute to be involved in the short course and the summit by going to the Hill with your advisors. The other key component that we haven't touched on yet is that a faculty advisor from your university is required to go to the HECSE Summit. Now, you do not travel there together, but the person, your faculty advisor, possibly a dean or a department chair, somebody from your campus needs to be going to the HECSE Summit. So one of the key things you need to start looking into is who is that HECSE person on your campus, and are they going to be available January 16th through 19th, or can they elect somebody else to go for them? So those are the first two key components about dates. And unfortunately, we know that it is expensive to travel. So the next components related to the HECSE Short Course are about the fees and the available money that you have. You will be responsible to pay for all of your travel fees. That includes flights, cabs, Ubers. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Also, you're also required to pay for your own lodging and food costs. It's recommended that you stay at the hotel where HECSE is holding the short course because it's definitely easier, but it's not a requirement. And then additionally, there is a $165 registration fee for the short course. So those can add up. Now, you are always welcome to investigate funding options through your university. However, by completing the application, you are agreeing to participate in the short course, regardless if funding is available through your university. So I will say that again. Please make sure to look into all the fees that might not be covered by your university and the costs associated with a trip like this, because by signing the application, you agree that you will be there no matter what. Alrighty, so the application process is actually very simple. It is a one-page general application that starts off with a few brief but important items like your name and the name of the faculty sponsor who will be going with you and what institution you are from. That is the whole extent of the application, I promise you. But in addition to filling out this one page, they also ask you to complete a statement of intent. This should be very brief, which means less than a page, on why you want to participate in HECSE. And that concludes it. Other than a few signatures at the bottom, you will have to sign the application along with your faculty sponsor who will be going to HECSE as well. So information to consider. Another thing to keep in the back of your mind, if a student from your university participated in the January 2017 HECSE Short Course, HECSE prefers not to accept students from the same university. However, if there are a limited number of applications, the board might still accept your application even if somebody from your university went there the previous year. And if other applications are not complete or do not meet the deadline, the HECSE board may still accept your application. So consider applying even if someone from your university went earlier this year. If nobody from your university went last year, apply, because there shouldn't be anything holding you back or any hesitations whatsoever. Now, how to submit these documents. Dr. Anderson has requested all of the documents be submitted to him. His address is shown here, and it is reviewed on a first-come, first-served basis. As noted in his welcome message to us, only 10 short course participants are approved and accepted. All applications are due by October 30th, so you have 7 days to hurry up and fill this out and get a few signatures, and acceptance letters will be sent out by November 10th. Now, a few recommendations for the short course. If you have not been to DC, I highly suggest considering to go there a day prior to the short course. Take a tour of the Capitol, get familiar with the city and some of the sites. And of course, we know this does depend on funding, But if you've never been to the Capitol building and you are unsure of the layout of Washington, D.C., going a day early and taking some tours of the area is highly recommended. Also, what I found very helpful is I would send a nightly email to my faculty advisor explaining what I learned for that day, whether it was in the short course or all of the running around we did during the summit. Also, it's recommended to start a folder on your computer before you go, and this way you can compile all your resources, you can take notes and drop it in, and you can gather names and contact information of people you meet. If you are a app person, you might also want to look into a business card app because there will be a lot of business cards being passed around, and that would be an easy way to organize business cards and information of contacts that you have. Also, take lots and lots and lots of photos. University supervisors, advisors, and HECSE loves to see photos of what we are doing during the short course and during the summit. Sam, would you like to pick up on this one?
Sure. So just meet with your faculty advisor who is also going. So again, that could be your actual faculty advisor, or that could just be the HECSE person at your whoever is going. Meet with them and just make sure that you're on the same page with who you're meeting with, when you're meeting them, and what your goals are for the meetings that you will have. As Andrea said, bring business cards and however you organize those. It was me personally, one of my first experiences having to be in a very professional situation where that is the currency. That's how you meet people and what you do. So if you are like me and have not been in a situation like that, just know to bring the business cards and not feel weird about bringing them out and handing them out. Bring comfortable but classy shoes. So the dress code in DC is fancy. But you're doing a lot of walking. So just, I guess, start preparing now for shoes that look good and won't kill you. And then have a good working knowledge of your members of Congress. So your senators, your representatives, and also the representatives in the district where your university is if you don't also live in that district. So that you can ask questions that are pertinent, and you can look at, they all have websites, and on their websites you can see what committees they're on and what their stances on different issues are, so that you're informed when you go talk to them, because you'll have a much better conversation with people if they know that you've done your research beforehand. And then on your way home, so this is great for people who are flying in, put together a one-pager that you can share with your university and your community. First of all, because you will learn so much, and when you leave, it'll all be fresh in your mind, and then the next day when you wake up, you're back to, I have this class and I have this class and I have all these other things I need to do. So getting it all out. And then also part of why we are doing this webinar and trying to recruit more doc students and get doc students and universities more involved is because it's easy to have these 3 days at HECSE and then be really excited about it, and then it kind of stops. So to take what you've learned and continue to spread it, and continue your advocacy work and all that stuff in a one-page thing that you can share with other people, so that it's easy and concise.
Thank you so much, Sam. As we're wrapping up, please put any questions that you have in the chat box. In a few minutes, I will send out a survey to all of you. Please take a moment to complete that survey so we can look at making the webinars more effective and useful to future HECSE participants. In this link, we will also provide the final application if you would like to apply after listening to us. So for a few questions, one of the questions is, will we receive a copy of the PowerPoint? Yes, I can send that in the same email as the link for the survey as well as the application. And then Tiffany, I'm hoping you can answer this one. If a person from the university participated in HECSE 2 years ago, will it affect if I try to apply for this year?
I do not have a concrete answer on that. What I do know is that the application states if someone from your institution participated last year, then you would not be a first priority participant. But it doesn't say anything about 2 years or any years prior. This is a pretty new thing that Dr. West started. So this upcoming year will be the 4th year that the short course has been a part of the HECSE Winter Summit. So probably that hasn't been a consideration yet before.
Perfect. The next question I will attempt to answer, it is about how to send the completed application. If it should be emailed or mailed, the answer is mailed. Snail mail, I know, seems out of date, but it is the way to send all applications. Your letter of intent is through the mail to the address of Dr. Anderson at the University of Indiana.
So keep that in mind for the deadline, that it needs to be there by the deadline, not postmarked by the deadline.
Good point, Sam. Anyone online? Any other questions? All right, everyone. Well, I've put up our contact information. I thank you so much for participating in the HECSE webinar on the short course. Feel free to reach out to any of us if you have more specific questions regarding the HECSE short course, the summit, or the application. And again, we really encourage everyone to apply. It is a great opportunity, and be looking forward to my emails soon. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a good day.